Arsenal have really picked up where they left off with this Premier League season. 2 wins out of 2. But for the summer transfer window, it has been quality over quantity. For the last couple of seasons, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal has went from strength to strength because with each passing transfer window, they're signing less players, they're bringing in players that should make their best 11 better or make their best 16 overall better to be able to compete with Man City in the league, as well as try and keep themselves competitive in the Champions League as well as the domestic cups. We see Eddie Nketiah on his way out to Crystal Palace, and incoming is going to be Mikel Merino from Real Sociedad, and a move that has kind of been mooted for a little while, whether it be Merino or Zubimendi. It felt like somebody from the Basque country, somebody from Real Sociedad was going to be reinforcing Mikel Arteta's midfield this year. But with Mikel Merino coming in here and seeing how Arsenal have started the first couple of games, it's hard to know for certain where Merino's actually going to feature in this squad predominantly and really what he does give. Having watched Merino and Sociedad for the last couple of years, I think I know this player pretty well, and in the video today we're going to have a look at where he could fit, where he should fit into this Arsenal makeup, and what the Arsenal actually still need to get done transfer business wise between now and the end of the window if they are going to go that one step further and win the Premier League this season. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this as we cover all the headline transfers throughout the summer as we prepare for the biggest season of European football I think ever we're going to have. And get into the comment section in this one and let me know, what do you think of Mikel Merino? Is he going to walk into the Arsenal team, or is he going to be a supplementary player? What business do Arsenal still need to get done? All of that kind of stuff, of course, in the comment section, guys. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Because believe me when I say this, guys, Arsenal have got off to a really impressive start to the Premier League. In the first game here against Wolves, of course, winning 2-0. Kai Havertz retaining that false 9 kind of forward position that he's kind of made his own. And we see the re-emergence of Thomas Partey across both of these games, obviously contributing with a goal in the 2-0 win against Aston Villa. And both of these games for me are hugely significant because of how well both these teams did last year, particularly against Arsenal in the case of Aston Villa, and how well they could do perhaps this year. And Arsenal so far have been pretty flawless, pretty impeccable. And that's the sort of standards, that's the sort of form they're going to need to maintain across the full season if they are going to go that next step. But as we have a look at the Arsenal squad now as it sits, before Mikel Merino gets added into the picture, we've had a few outgoings: Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, and Fabio Vieira going back to Porto, which is a real head scratcher for me. But Arsenal very capable now, very confident in the strength and quality and options that they've got, certainly for defence. We might see Kiwior leave in this window. Let's see how that shakes out. But the midfield is absolutely wafer thin. And if it's going to be between Partey and Jorginho for this deep controller, this deep defensive midfielder position, maybe they're going to feel quite comfortable with that. But with Odegaard now just being here with no Fabio Vieira, it feels that they're really exposed. Because for me, Declan Rice is probably the most pivotal midfielder in terms of getting the ball from front to back. Can play in a number of different positions depending on the phase of play and the starting 11 depending on what the opponent is. And for me, Mikel Merino is just Spanish Declan Rice, for lack of a better expression. He's a big commanding midfielder that likes to go box to box, is always close to the ball, always close to the action. And, I wouldn't say he's got a real final third presence, but he definitely does know how to score a goal. He's definitely got a good passing range to set up opponents on counter-attacks and that sort of thing. But he's not an out-and-out defensive midfielder that I think would be a definitive upgrade on what Partey offers you. He's maybe a nice kind of halfway house between Jorginho and Partey. He definitely gives you a lot of the same strengths and a lot of the same qualities that Declan Rice would give you when he's been in this deeper position. So if that's the evolution, then Merino's going to come in here and it'd be a bit more of a double pivot, a 2 kind of 8 box-to-box midfielders here. Then that could be something that could really help Arsenal kind of kick on in terms of getting some extra support and some extra quality, some extra goals and assists coming from that deep line midfield position here that, Partey got his goal the other day. Declan Rice has been effective in that position as well. But with Rice being firmly favoured in this number 8 connector job between whoever is the deep midfielder and the main playmaker in Martin Odegaard, I think you get the most out of Rice by keeping him in this position. And unless Rice or Merino, unless one of these guys was to now become the new number 6, the new deep line playmaker, the new deep line midfielder for Arsenal, I can't see Merino and Rice playing together too often unless there is that kind of change in shape. As I say, I see this more as kind of cover for Declan Rice. I think Merino's a great player that can probably play 10, 15, 20 games a season for Arsenal. He's not going to put Rice out the team. Whether he could put Partey out the team, again, it really depends on the style and all the rest of it. But this feels more like a move that kind of reinforces the quality and gives Arsenal like a really good option. You know, once the fixture list does pile up, to relieve Declan Rice, give him maybe the opportunity to sit a game or two here or there, League Cups, FA Cups, these things come into the equation as well, of course, and play somebody like Merino, who is a carbon copy, a very similar type of player. You don't need to change your route to goal. You don't really need to change your balance in midfield, as it were. But I do find this move really confusing with it being coupled with the outgoing loan back to Porto of Fabio Vieira for Odegaard, because now, like I said, defence is basically two to a position, give or take. Midfield is just about there. Forward we can talk about as well if you like, but Odegaard is very reliant upon, and if anything was to happen to him and he can't play for a couple of games, for a couple of months, whatever it might be, this Arsenal team loses a lot. That I'm not too sure Havertz coming back into this position, and then you promote somebody like a Jesus or a Trossard into the centre forward role, and then you bring Martinelli back in as a left forward. I think that's just I think you're just asking for a little bit too much flexibility across the whole season to cover for Odegaard. I don't think Arsenal's transfer window is going to be done yet by any stretch, because this Merino transfer took a long time to do. It felt like an important one, but with Nketiah leaving, maybe Kiwior leaves, it feels like there might be some more FFP, there might be some more financial lubrication coming Arsenal's way, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another playmaker join the ranks now, because they really do need to have, and what Merino does give you is, like, if Declan Rice is an 8 out of 10, Merino's like a 6 or a 7. He's not too far behind him. And when you look at the strength that Zinchenko's done at left back, Calafiori taking his place, Timber could come into this reckoning as well to chase down Ben White for his position. This is the situation Man City have got themselves into over the last decade or so, where, yeah, you may be able to predict their best 11, but genuinely on the training pitch every day, every one of these guys is really pushing the envelope and trying to change that in some way, shape or form. And I think Merino does give you that competitive strength in the squad where, again, like I mentioned in the intro, it's maybe not making the best 11 better, but if we take out maybe the likes of Tomiyasu and Kiwior, the second choice goalkeeper, Tierney, who's always injured, and probably Reece Nelson, like, if this is Arsenal's like primary squad for the Premier League season, I could see them maybe going that next step and beating Man City to the title this year. But when you add in the fixture pile up, when you add in the extra pressure of being in 3 other competitions on top of this squad might just still be a bit too thin to compete like they probably will for as long as they will in the Champions League, the FA Cup and the League Cup, and keep that strength up there in the Premier League. So I would like to see certainly some cover for Odegaard come in, and I still don't think they've got a real solution here for up front. If they did get a real solution for here up front, you then release Havertz to be a bit more, not cover for Odegaard necessarily, but you're then not as reliant upon him being the best 11 striker and being the cover for your best 11 playmaker if he wasn't available. So some sort of upgrade in attack might help with this, as well as an out-and-out playmaker. But yeah, I think the Merino transfer is one that Arsenal fans shouldn't get overly excited about. I don't think it makes a huge increase into the best 11, as I say, unless we see this type of thing evolve, where Merino is going to be the deepest of the 3 midfielders, but he's not that out-and-out defensive midfielder that Thomas Partey is. And I would even say he's as familiar with this role as Jorginho is, because, you know, at Real Sociedad, Zubimendi does this role. In his previous clubs, Newcastle and Dortmund, he wasn't the only guy doing this job, if he was ever in like the engine room, as it were. So if this is the move, it's a wee bit of a gamble. Let's see how it pays off if this was to be how it shakes out. But he's definitely a guy that adds into the level, keeps the competitive strength in the squad. And I say I've been really impressed with Arsenal's start to the Premier League season. I would love to see them get another attacking player in before the window closes, certainly. Because I don't think defensively is going to be their problem. I think we're going to get a great defensive shift out of Arsenal across this season. Raya seems really comfortable. The defence seems really well set now. And like we're talking about with Merino, Rice, Partey, Jorginho, there's enough cover in that deep line position in that defensive midfield role where, you know, all competitions, there should be good combinations to be made from these players here. It is just going to be about scoring goals. Havertz became the solution, seems to be the solution for now. There is this huge reliance on Odegaard and Saka, we've not even really mentioned, but I suppose he could definitely be in this box that we're looking at for Odegaard in terms of, you know, how heavily he's relied upon. And when we analysed Arsenal last season, some of those tighter games, or when the squad got a bit thinner, scoring enough goals or scoring the goals that would make the difference from a loss to a draw, from a draw to a win, was a big problem area for them. So I don't think Merino really solves that. And yeah, I think that's still the thing to be done here. But I think a good transfer, a smart transfer, and one that probably doesn't really blow back in their face, isn't really a a wasted move. I think we'll see Merino be effective for Arsenal, maybe even win some matches with his contributions with goals and assists, that sort of thing. But I'd say it's a good transfer for sure. But this might set up something a bit more spectacular, is what I'm maybe hoping. On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, get into the comment sections, stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one.